We did everything right. For 40 years, my husband, John, and I, we saved, we invested, we followed all the rules. John had this perfect plan on a spreadsheet. He called it our blueprint for security, our nest egg. Last week, I had to put a carton of milk back on the shelf because that blueprint was worthless. That spreadsheet is long gone, buried in a box in the garage under things we can't afford to fix anymore. Now, we live on credit cards. This is the story of how our dream retirement became a living nightmare. It feels like another life now, a story about two other people. We bought a small home with a yard full of rose bushes I spent years tending. I see ghosts of our kids, Mark and Emily, leaving chalk drawings all over the driveway. Now, that same driveway is blocked by downsizing boxes stacked in the hall. Our dream wasn't extravagant. We just wanted to be secure, not like our parents, who worried constantly. My parents had pensions. They had social security they could count on. They had a stability that, it turns out, died with their generation. John worked for a large manufacturing company for 35 years. He was loyal to a fault. I see a montage of his sacrifice. Him on the phone, telling me he'd miss Emily's dance recital for an emergency overtime shift. Him missing Christmas Eve one year to keep the plant running. The faint, white scar on his forearm from a piece of machinery that slipped. His hands, always with a faint trace of grease under the nails that would never wash out. Each one, he'd said, was an investment in our future. I was a teacher's aide, home every day when our kids got off the bus. Our financial life was John's world. He prided himself on balancing our checkbook to the penny. "We're on track, Sarah," he'd say with a satisfied smile. And we were. We drove our cars until they died. Vacations were camping trips. And every single month, a piece of our income went into savings, his 401k, and the crown jewel, his pension. A defined benefit plan, a promise from his company, give us your life and we'll take care of you. It felt like a covenant. In a world of change, that pension was our fortress. When John finally retired at 65, our 4 grandkids were chasing fireflies in the yard where the rose bushes were in full bloom. John stood on the back porch and raised a glass. He looked at me, his voice thick with emotion. "We did it, Sarah. We're safe." I believed him. We had $1 million nest egg. We thought the fortress was indestructible, but the cracks were already spreading beneath our feet. The first crack was a cough John couldn't shake. The word the doctor used was aggressive. Cancer. It landed in the quiet world of our retirement like a bomb. But that was just the beginning of the storm. Suddenly, our calendar was a blur of appointments. My life became an endless loop of sitting in cold, sterile waiting rooms, the vinyl of the chair sticking to my legs, the IV drip clicking out a rhythm of quiet dread. I'd spoon-feed John soup when he was too weak, whispering encouragement, telling him how strong he was. I'd watch his hand, the one with the scar, grip mine so tight it hurt. And then I'd go cry quietly in the car afterward, where he couldn't see me break. We had good health insurance, or so we thought. But the bills started arriving like a blizzard. $2,000 for a scan. $800 for one injection. We drained our savings to fill the gap between what insurance covers and what it actually pays. Then the second blow landed. A certified letter from John's company. Due to unforeseen financial restructuring, all future pension payments were being drastically reduced. I watched John's face turn ghost white as he read it. "They can't," he whispered, the paper trembling. 35 years. The scar on my arm. They promised, but they could. Our bedrock crumbled overnight. We thought the pension letter was rock bottom. We were wrong. The market piled on, sending our 401k tumbling. We were now drawing from it not to fund dreams, but to pay for prescriptions, locking in our losses. And then the third thief, inflation. For years, it was just a number on a spreadsheet. Now it was a monster that lived at our kitchen table. Our grandkids came over one afternoon, sticky fingers asking for candy, a brief moment of sunshine. But as soon as they left, the easy laughter in our home was gone, replaced by ugly arguments born of fear. "Why didn't you see this coming?" I snapped at him one night. The moment the words left my mouth, I saw the look on his face, not anger, but a deep, hollowed-out shame. This was his plan. He had failed me. The final humiliation came on a Tuesday. I stood at the checkout. The total was $47.31. I slid our debit card. Beep. Declined. My face burned. I fumbled for a credit card. It went through. But as I walked out, something inside me broke. We had been betrayed by sickness, by the market, by his company. But the real truth, the part that would force us to look in the mirror, was even harder to face. The credit card statements piled up, an unopened stack of accusations on the kitchen table. One evening, I couldn't stand it anymore. I sat across from John, tore open the top envelope, and just gasped at the number. The silence was suffocating. "Do you think we'll lose the house, Sarah?" he asked, his voice cracking. "I don't want to think about it, John," I whispered back. "I just don't know." In that moment, the wall crumbled. It was time for a reckoning. Lesson 1. We tragically underestimated the true cost of health care. My mother taught me to save pennies in a coffee tin. I used to pride myself on balancing a checkbook. But we had budgeted for being healthy. We never planned for being sick. A healthy 65-year-old couple might spend thousands a year out of pocket on top of premiums, but that doesn't include installing grab bars in the bathroom or a ramp for the front steps. Now, buying bread feels like gambling. Medicare is a net full of holes. And that was only one hole in the net. The next one was even deadlier. Lesson 2. The silent thief of inflation wasn't silent anymore. I remember the thermostat wars of my childhood. Now it's our reality. John's plan used 3% inflation. We retired into a roaring monster. Even though the annual rate as of July 2025 is about 2.7%, the damage from its recent peak was already done. It's the constant, grinding stress of turning the thermostat down to 62 degrees and wearing 3 layers of sweaters inside. It's a losing game you're forced to play every single day, knowing your money is evaporating while you sleep. But even that wasn't the biggest betrayal. Lesson 3. We put our faith in an institution, not in reality. John's pension was our gospel, our single greatest mistake. We learned that when a company goes bankrupt, pensioners are at the bottom of the list. We weren't alone. We read about the Teamsters Central States Fund, which needed a nearly $36 billion government bailout in 2022 to avoid collapse. They were lucky. We weren't. We put all our faith in a single point of failure, and when it gave way, it took our whole world with it. And it made us realize our last safety net was more frayed than we could ever imagine. Lesson 4. Our Social Security safety net feels terrifyingly frayed. I lie awake at night now, staring at the ceiling, and I picture us at 80. I wonder if we'll have enough money for birthday candles for our grandkids. It sounds small, but it's everything. The Social Security trustees' own reports say the retirement trust fund could be depleted as early as 2033, potentially slashing benefits by over 20%. For us, 2033 isn't some abstract date. It's just around the corner. It raises a terrifying question in the middle of the night. What happens then? The reckoning didn't fix our problems, but it replaced the silence between us with grim determination. The next choice was the house, our beautiful home of 40 years. It's on the market now. The other day, while packing a box of kitchen supplies, I ran my hand along the dent in the door frame where we measured the kids' height every year. I just sat on the floor and cried. While packing another box, I found a handwritten note John left me on our 10th anniversary. It felt like a message from a different lifetime. We are choosing solvency over sentimentality. The worst was last month. It was our grandson Leo's birthday. I was in line to buy him a small cake. The card was declined. I had to put it back. As I left the store with nothing, I rehearsed in my head what I would say. Grandma and Grandpa are saving for a special surprise later. I just kept practicing the lie so I wouldn't cry in front of him. That's a pain no financial planner can prepare you for. The anger in our marriage is gone, replaced by a fierce protectiveness. We sit on the porch and hold hands, not saying much. This crisis stripped us down to the studs, and what remains is the core of our bond. But even that bond can't fill the echo of emptiness in our half-packed house. The silence is different now. It's the sound of loss. My hope is that this painful story serves as a warning. I am speaking to you now. Sisters, wives, mothers, don't let the system do this to you. I'm not telling you this as a statistic. I'm telling you as a wife who had to put back a cake for her grandson's birthday. Don't let this happen to your family. Our golden years aren't what we dreamed of. There won't be an RV trip. Our days are filled with struggle. But we are still here, and we are still together. We did everything we were told. We put our trust in our employers, in our government, in the system itself. We trusted the system, and the system broke us. Don't let it break you. We have friends who lost everything in a different way, a story of bad advice from a so-called trusted advisor. And if you think our story is bad, wait until you hear what happened to them. Protect yourselves. And more importantly, protect each other. Watch this next for another gripping tale of retirement gone wrong, plus the lesson you can't afford to miss.